Hey you see all that stuff behind me? Those are cages full of caterpillars. Today is vlogging time and today I'm going to show you all of my species that I have right now. Well, at least all of my caterpillars. So these cages behind me are some of my rearing projects and I'm going to show all of them in one video. Now, this is not even everything I have. These are just some of the big fully grown caterpillars. The small ones are in small boxes and we are going to show them after I get through these. So let's get started. One of the many ways that I raise caterpillars is by cutting branches of food plant and planting them in a bottle filled with water. This is so the leaves of the food plant and the twigs that I cut can absorb the water and stay fresh for multiple days. This way, these bottles will last for about 2 to 4 or 5 days in some cases, so you don't have to replace the food plant that often. Generally, this is only a method that works for bigger caterpillars. The small instars, I still rear them in small boxes of plastic without ventilation, and when they grow big they go in the cage or in a sleeve. Now, today I'm going to start with the fully grown big caterpillars because those are the most exciting to start with. First thing I'm going to start with is this cage right here, so I'm gonna open it up. Give me a second. Almost. Yes, there we go. Now what we're going to see here looks a little bit alien, but it's a pretty awesome species. So these are the caterpillars of a certain type of owl moth from Asia, the Brahmaea japonica. And I'm a big fan of Brahmaeid moths, especially the genus Brahmaea. And I would love to breed all of these species. They are very easy to breed in captivity. So the only problem is they are not always easy to get. In some years they are really common on the market because like I said, they are very easy to breed. So whenever one person imports a few eggs, this is usually enough for hobbyists to breed thousands of them for multiple years until the bloodline dies out in captivity and you won't see them again for some time. But these caterpillars only feed on the family of olive. So that includes privet, ligustrum, but also Syringa vulgaris. I think that one's called like lilac. But also other things like ash tree, Fraxinus, and maybe even olive itself. I don't know, I don't think anyone ever tried. So for some reason my camera doesn't want to focus on this caterpillar here. This guy got sharper image. Oh, there we go. Ah, yes. Very beautiful. This is a bigger caterpillar. The younger caterpillars still have these alien-like tentacles on their body, these appendages. Here you'll see it in a smaller caterpillar that's about to shed its skin. You can see these tentacles here on its head. Really funny. So yeah, I'm gonna bring this cage away back to my bedroom. That's where I have all of them. But I just put them outside to show them to all of you. So I bought that cage away. Next one is this one, number 2. We're going to open this one up very slowly and see what surprises are hidden inside. What's also interesting about Antirea god money is that some caterpillars seem to have a single metallic silver spot on their body, like here, while others don't. So this seems to be somewhat of a variable trait, but despite that it's a unique thing for the god money. Although some other Antirea species also have metallic spots on their body, but not one random one like this. Especially, I think not from America, but it's kind of a weird one, isn't it? But still a beautiful caterpillar. I really hope to complete the life cycle of this Central American beauty this very year. Well, this was cage number 2. Let's move on, man. What do we have here? Ha! Can you see it? Inside this cage we have the caterpillars of a rare Central American species of silk moth. This is Antirea god money. And this species is not often seen in captivity, despite that they are relatively easy to breed if you have some basic experience with Antirea moths. And there's not many caterpillars in here because they don't like being overcrowded. So it's like I put 5 or 6 caterpillars per cage maximum for the best result. As you can see, most of them are even shedding their skins. I think they're 4th instar maybe. These can get pretty big. And here another big one. Their camouflage on the oak is just excellent. So this is somewhat of a rarity, so I'm proud to have these this year, especially considering I tried them 2 years ago and failed, which kind of hurt. But this time I improved my method and I'm prepared to complete their life cycle successfully. So you're gonna see an Antirea god money on YouTube this year. So that was the second cage. Let's move on. What's also interesting about Antirea god money is that some caterpillars seem to have a single metallic silver spot on their body, like here, while others don't. So this seems to be somewhat of a variable trait, but despite that it's a unique thing for the god money. Although some other Antirea species also have metallic spots on their body, but not one random one like this. Especially, I think not from America, but it's kind of a weird one, isn't it? But still a beautiful caterpillar. I really hope to complete the life cycle of this Central American beauty this very year. Well, this was cage number 2. Let's move on, man. And we move on to number 3. Cage number 3. Let's open that shit up. Let's see what the hell is inside. Doesn't look like there's anything to see here. Or is there? Actually, it's plainly here in front of you. Can you see it? These guys are really well camouflaged. Can you see it? It's almost as if it's part of the stick itself. And what we're looking here at is the Clifton non-parallel Catocala fraxini. There's several of them in here. Very well camouflaged. This is the old host plant. It's not connected to a water bottle right now. The idea is that they will climb from the old food to the new food whenever it desiccates. But there's quite a few of them in here, but because of their excellent camouflage, even if they are so big, they are difficult to find. But so far straightforward. Here, take this for example. This twig is actually a caterpillar here. See? It's kind of amazing to see their camouflage. Now, these are not too difficult to rear actually, but I still struggled with them for a long time. And that's because, well, I used to treat them too much like Saturniidae, silk moths, my favorite family. But these guys really don't handle plastic boxes this well. They need 100% total ventilation. And since I improved my method, I don't have problems with breeding Catocala anymore. So, pretty amazing, huh? Aha! Only 4 cages left. Gradually, it's becoming less and less. So, I think we'll move on to the next one. Let's see, the one here on the left should be an interesting one. Let's open this one. Arrgh. Hey. So in here we have a species that's somewhat common both in the wild and in captivity. Very popular species for breeders of moths and insects. This is a type of moon moth, the Actias ningpoana. Now some of you will know the Indian moon moth, the Actias selene. And this one is really similar to that species, both in breeding and in biology. In fact, they used to be the same species. Ningpoana used to be just a subspecies of the Selene, but until some people decided to split them into 2 species. They're nearly identical, although Ningpoana has less pink on the wings. And the caterpillars look also nearly identical. Despite that, it's a nice species that I want to give a shot. And the thing is, Ningpoana and Selene, I have a care sheet about how to breed Actias selene on my website, but I don't have one about Actias ningpoana yet. So this will make for an interesting comparison if I can complete the life cycle of this moth. They're here feeding on oak tree, very straightforward, very basic species, but yet, yeah, quite a beauty, to be honest. So I really hope that these will grow successfully to their adult life stages, so to say. Just 3 cages left. Okay, let's move on to this one. Let's see what's inside. And here's one Rodinia verrecunda trying to shed its skin to what I think could be the final instar, and I'm not sure, I haven't kept track. This is how they're supposed to look like, but I have one funny looking caterpillar here. You see this one? It has a black stripe along its body. Now for Rodinia it's normal to have a black stripe, but they only have this in instar, I think the 3rd instar. But this one has kept it through the 3rd instar to the 4th, and now what seems like the 5th instar. But this black pigment here is not normal. They're supposed to be uniformly green like this one. So here you have another typical average looking Rodinia verrecunda. Got the eggs from Taiwan. Camera doesn't want to cooperate, it seems. Come on, man. Let's try to film my finger so it has something to focus on. Ah, yeah, that's a bit of old camera. So here you see a normal, typical looking, good, healthy looking specimen. Although I don't know what the black stuff here on his back is, but it's probably just some dirt. But yeah, I got them feeding on cherry and oak. Now I don't like to mix species together this often, but the Caligula and Rodinia seem to be doing fine in the same enclosure. So here we see the beautiful Caligula boistivali. Ah yes. The reason I mixed them is because I had relatively very few of both species. I had a low hatch rate on the eggs of both the Caligula and the Rodinia. So I thought, hey, why not save some space and try to raise them together? And so far it seems to go well, because the Rodinia seem to go to the oak tree because they prefer to eat the oak. And the Caligula prefer to eat the cherry leaf. So they're not really making a lot of contact with each other here because of different food plant preferences. So what I'm raising in here is actually a mix of two different species. Now I don't like to mix caterpillars of different species that much, because this is an increased risk of competition and viruses and infections. And generally just mixing species is not really a great thing to do. But I had a little bit of both and I wanted to save space. So here's the first thing that I'm raising in here. It is an Asian species of emperor moth. The scientific name is Caligula boisduvali, or some of you may know it by the older name, Saturnia boisduvali. It's Caligula. And the caterpillars really like eating cherry for some reason. As you can see, this is Prunus pades. It's bird cherry, but it's the European kind, not the invasive American bird cherry. But yeah, they're really thriving. And as you can see, I have two food plants in here. One side is cherry, one side is oak. And I have two species in here, but they have separated themselves. Here's the other species. It's the squeaking silk moth, the Rodinia verecunda. Now, if you look online for the squeaking silk moth, most of the time you're going to see the Rodinia fugax. But actually it's a genus that has multiple species in it. So here we see caterpillars of the squeaking silk moth. The eggs came from Taiwan. So Rodinia verecunda caterpillars. They can squeak like I've shown on the video, but I'm not going to harass them today for this video. And what's interesting is the squeaking silk moths have crawled to the oak, and the Caligula boistivali have crawled to the cherry leaf. So they have separated themselves by food plant preference. Interesting thing is that they can eat both. Caligula can eat oak and Rodinia can also eat cherry. So they're both polyphagous species that can eat each other's preferred food. But because of their preferences, you just see that separation going on here. And that's a good thing. It means these caterpillars are not going to mix up too much and going to keep some space. So yeah. Very nice rearing here of just some beautiful Asian moths. Sadly not in large numbers, because the eggs I didn't have many hatchings. So only very small percentage of my eggs hatched, probably because, I don't know, maybe it was too cold this winter. Or maybe I kept them too humid, whatever it is. I'm still glad to have the ones that I'm raising here. And although it's not many, there's still plenty of them. Enough to have a chance of a pairing. Only 2 cages left, boys. Let's start with the small cage here, because that's gonna be a short one. So let's sit down and look at these beauties here and see what surprises is hidden inside. Now what we have here is actually a very common species in Europe. And I believe in English the common name is the black arches. But I prefer to use the scientific name, which is the Lymantria monacha. And now here I have some old bunch of food plant they were feeding on. And all the caterpillars are still in here, I think. I just added some new ones here. Some is filled with water and host plant. I give them some cherry and oak tree, and they really seem to prefer the oak tree. So if you look in here, some of them have already crawled to the new food, I think. Yes, here you have one caterpillar. But most of them are still hanging on their old food. But when they grow hungry, this oak tree is going to shrivel up and dry because it's not standing in the water. So they're not going to like this food for very long. That's when they will crawl to the new fresh oak. This camera is bad for making close-ups. That's the biggest disadvantage of this vlogging camera, but luckily I have this other camera that can show you the close-ups. So it's this one. I use two cameras, one for vlogging in high definition and one for close-ups. Seems to be very easy to breed, very straightforward. And the Lymantria monacha is a very closely related species to the gypsy moth. It's in the same genus. You may know the gypsy moth as the Lymantria dispar. So this is the Lymantria monacha. Some of them are even crawling here on my hand. Funny little things. And the adults are quite beautiful. They are black and white, but have this really nice looking pattern. So I'm quite excited to see the moths. Woof! This one's gonna fall down. Whoa, that was a bit of a random blooper there. Wow, this was my last cage and almost dropped to the floor. So it looks like it's getting windy and bad weather, so I'm gonna hurry up. Let's take this stuff back inside soon. Quickly gonna finish the video with this cage here, because I don't want to risk more wind coming and blowing them down. I really want to take them inside now. So this is actually what was inside my third cage. This here is some completely fresh food plant that I collected for them outside, but there are no caterpillars in it because the caterpillars still have to be transferred to their new food. So you're wondering what they are. This is the Lobobunea fedusa. That's a silk moth from Africa. Last year I've shown you another species, the Lobobunea christi. This was the big grey moth with very bright red eye spots. And this is a cousin. In fact, they used to be the same species. You used to have Lobobunea fedusa, and among that the subspecies Lobobunea fedusa christi. Entomologists decided to split them into two species, a decision that I agree with, because now I am breeding them. I noticed that the caterpillars are extremely different from the other species, and so are the adults. So I say good job, entomologists. This was a good taxonomical revision. Now I hope these caterpillars will crawl under the new food pretty soon. I'm gonna just put the leaves of these in here and leave it like this. Well, not like that, obviously. Should place them here in a spot where eventually this old leaf is gonna shrivel up and dry out. And the caterpillars are not going to like it anymore, so they're going to look for fresh leaves, so they're gonna crawl here on the stick. And some of them have already found their new food, I see. See, here's one caterpillar. My finger. So this camera is really bad for focusing up close, so I'm gonna do that with my other cameras. But yeah, this was inside the last two cages. So I'm gonna bring this stuff inside around real quick. So Lobabuneas, by the way, they really eat a lot of different fruit plants, including you can give them sweet gum, liquid amber, or oak tree, quercus, or basically you can give them whatever. They'll even eat privet, ligustrum. But in this video I'm using the Syringa vulgaris. Nice, your host plant will stay fresh for quite a while. But yeah, it's crazy. I think they can even... I forgot the scientific name of that plant, but never mind. So I think it's called like Mahonia. They really like that one. And also some of the Fabaceae plants. Maybe even Robinia, I don't know. Try it out, guys. Experiment a little. So this were my caterpillar cages, but the video is far from over because this was only really the top of the iceberg. But I hope we can move inside now. Gonna finish the rest of the video indoors because I don't want the stuff get rainy and wet and disgusting, etc. So you thought, wow, Bart, is this all the species you have that you show everything in one video? The answer is no. I have a lot of young caterpillars that just hatched from their eggs. And the thing is, I keep small caterpillars in boxes like these. Big caterpillar want a lot of space, want a lot of ventilation, but small caterpillars always do well in little plastic boxes like these. So I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of all the stuff that's growing in here. And I will start with a random box. Box number 1. Let's take a look at what's in here. Oh, I already see what's in here. We shouldn't try to disturb it this much, but it's here in the corner. Can you see it? There. This one is in fact spinning a cocoon. It's the Orchia antica, the vaporer moth. And in fact I just showed you a video of them outside in my garden. In its leaf on the apple tree. So this is a pre-pupal caterpillar of the vaporer moth, the Orchia antica. And there's only one caterpillar in this box. I have a lot of more caterpillars of this species. But they're outside in my garden in a caterpillar rearing sleeve on the apple tree. You'll see it soon afterwards, because I'm also going to show you the caterpillars I'm sleeving outside. Some of you may be wondering, Bart, why do you keep one caterpillar in a plastic container and the rest of them outside? Well, that's because I like to keep one specimen apart to make pictures of them, because if they're outside in the sleeve, I hate opening and closing the rearing sleeve all the time, just so I can make pictures or whatever. So I keep one specimen apart. It looks like this one is already spinning a cocoon here. I see some silk. So we're gonna leave that one alone. So box number 1 was a single lonely caterpillar of the Orchia antica. Box number 2. Let's take a look at what's in here. It's completely at random. Ah yes, this is an interesting one. You see, I love Citheronia moths. They are one of my favorite silk moths of all time. In fact, if you are a viewer of my channel, I can recommend that you look at some of my playlists. And I even have a special playlist about Citheronia moths. Now that's exactly what I'm breeding right now. If you are wondering what this species is, it's the Citheronia bella vista, a species from Central America. And as you can see, there's many of them in here, and all usually the first and second instars. Should be an easy species to raise in captivity. And I'm raising them on a mix of sweet gum, liquid amber, and also Juglans, which is walnut. So box number 1 of the Citheronia bella vista. Now every time I've reviewed a box, I will put it here on the floor so we know this is one we've already had. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I have no idea, I just picked them at random. Okay, so we open this up. And what is it that we see? Ah. So you've already seen this species just now in the same video. This is Anterea godmani. You've already seen 5 fully grown caterpillars on oak tree. But I'm rearing several generations of this moth because, well, it's somewhat of a rarity. And if you are a moth breeder like me, then you don't want to miss the opportunity to breed a rarity. So when I saw eggs were available, I ordered as many as I could of several generations. And this is actually the second instar of Antherea godmani. It's like Central American representative of Antherea, just like the polyphemus moth, Antherea polyphemus, and the Antherea oculea found in North America. This is one of the two species found in Central and South America. Pretty straightforward to breed actually so far, even though it's a rarity. Being rare does not always mean that it has to be difficult to breed. And it's a kind of a paradox. Okay, just another box. Let's take a look inside. What is it that we find in here? Oh, some leftover Automeris metzli. This is like the second or third instar of Automeris metzli. Paired some of them in the start of this year. But this container is only a container that has 2 caterpillars, because these were 2 of my smallest. Moving on. Next box. It's big right here, this one on top, okay? Let's check it out. This is an exciting one. This is an exciting rearing. What you see in here are the caterpillars of Gracia Imperator. Gracia Imperator is a silk moth from Africa, and its life cycle is unknown to science. So what you are looking at here is actually, these are the first ever images of the caterpillars of this species. So you are now, by watching this video, one of the first people in the world to see the caterpillars of this moth. And they will be part of one of my scientific research projects. I'm gonna post a video about that later this year. But first I'm just going to try and raise them to moths, because they say don't count your chickens before they hatch, and I agree. These are not fully grown yet, and there's still a lot of challenges that I have to face. They're getting a little bit big for plastic boxes, so soon I will have to transfer them to a cage with a bottle. Another box. Let's see what's in here. Check it out. These are the Cunugia I got from Laos. They are Laotian species of leopard moths, Lasiocampidae. And as you can see, it's quite close to shedding its skin, so may not want to bother it too much. I'm gonna try and raise these in plastic boxes for the entirety of their life, because these are from Laos. Laos is a pretty humid place at times, and these caterpillars seem to enjoy living in plastic boxes. They seem to thrive. So instead of putting these in a well ventilated box, I'm going to keep these from egg to cocoon inside this box. So yeah, Laotian Cunugia. Starting to get big, but will get a lot bigger. It's a huge leopard moth. So there's only 3 caterpillars of them in this box. This is the biggest one. The other 2 are hidden, but I don't have already a long video, so I don't have the time to also show you all individuals I have. Okay, next box. Bam. Let's see. I see this one is getting a little bit moldy here, so I should clean this one pretty soon. But let's see what we have here. So this is what we have in here. And some of you may ask, so what is it? The answer is, I have no idea. These are random caterpillars that came to me from Africa, from Cameroon. And they are of some kind of leopard moth, but what species it is, nobody knows. Some people have suggested to me that they may be from the genus Pagina. But how can I know? I can only know this once I've seen the moth, not just the caterpillars. That's the problem. So for now, these are going to remain basically unidentified as a species. They look pretty though. They are a little bit green with moss camouflage. Can you see it? Have some green accents here on their body. There's a chance they'll grow really big, but we don't know. I don't know anything about it. It'll be a complete surprise. And it could just be that this is again a new life cycle that was not known to science before. scientific project. So let's put it down in here. We are about halfway through. Still this we have to go. Okay, let's pick this one. We are going through this really fast, I know. But if I'm going to be a slacker here, then this video is gonna take hours. So, yes, let's take a look at this. This is a nice Eternate Moth. It's also from Central America, from Mexico. This is a Saturnidae, believe it or not. But it's from a subfamily that I haven't filmed before on my YouTube channel. It's an Arsenurinae. Arsenurinae is one of the many subfamilies that the Saturnidae are divided in. Now, if you're wondering what it is, it's from the genus Chio, C-H-I-O. And I forgot the species name for a second, but I thought they were like Chio championi or maybe Chio witti. Now, these species are a bit difficult to read because in Europe there's not many plants that they like to eat. But one alternative they can use are Tiliacea, which means lime tree. So these are on the Tilia, aka lime tree. So far seem to be doing okay, although it wouldn't surprise me, oh it's pooping. It wouldn't surprise me that if in later instars they would somehow die. It sounds pretty crude, but that's how it is because these species are very unpredictable, hard to breed. I tried to breed Arsenura a few times, but in Europe, most of them prove to be impossible to breed. But I'm really hoping that these Chio here will at least make it to adulthood. And look at these crazy horns here on their thorax. Pretty crazy looking caterpillars if you ask me. It's a bit snake-like. So I don't want to disturb these too much. But it seems they're growing well. And they like the humidity of plastic boxes, and they also like a lot of food plant. I just fill the entire container with food plant entirely, so they're not going to struggle looking for food. I mean, wherever they walk, they are going to find food everywhere. And this seems to have had a positive effect. So this was Chio championi, or was it Chio witti? I don't know. I should write down the species that I read. Okay, next. Boom. What is it that we have here? Aha. This is a species that I've just already shown you. Remember the mystery leopard moth from Africa I was breeding on oak tree? Well, these are exactly that species, but I had so many caterpillars that I decided to divide them between two different boxes. So what you're looking at right now is exactly the same species that you saw a few seconds ago. So if I have a lot of caterpillars of one species, I don't like to put them in one container. I like to spread them, give them all little space. But yeah, mystery leopard moth. I think it's like 3rd or 4th instar, oak tree. So yep. Boom. Next. Phew. What a video. Next one. This is one you've already seen again. It's the 3rd time you see it. Anterea Godmani. And you've seen fully grown caterpillars and you've seen babies. So these are the babies. As you can see. Pretty good looking, huh? Like this color is so fluorescent and just this lime color. It's so bright. I think it's really nice to see. So, but yeah, there's not much I can tell you because this species has been in the video now for the 3rd time, so I'm quickly gonna put them away. Oh, next box. Oh, remember the mystery leopard moths that I just showed? Well, these are similar, but they're different species, so I have multiple species of mystery leopard moths, and these are something different entirely. But they may be from the same genus, so I just showed you 2 species of Pagina that I'm breeding on oak. And this is a 2nd species of Pagina that I am breeding on willow. I'm not sure what to tell you beyond that. They came from Cameroon. Here, let's stir them up a little bit, see some action. May not want to disturb them too much because some of them could be shedding their skin soon, but they're pretty hairy and crazy looking. I have no clue what the adult will look like. It will be a complete surprise, but you know what? I like a surprise. So turns out this year I have a lot of caterpillars in my possession, which were never photographed or filmed before, ever, by anyone. So there's high scientific potential this year. Next one. Aha. Now this is a really common and easy to breed species. It's the Tree of Heaven silk moth, Samia cynthia. This is one of the most commonly bred moths on the planet, especially among hobbyists. Everyone and their mother breeds this species, at least in Europe. They're just so incredibly easy and convenient to breed. So, but I saw some cheap eggs for sale and I couldn't resist, despite the fact that I've already bred like thousands of these before. You know, sometimes you like to have rare things and crazy things, but I also appreciate just the common stuff. It's good to have some moths that are easy to breed and straightforward sometimes. That's something I always appreciate. Samia cynthia. 5 more to go. Now let's see what's in here. Oh yes, this is my second box with the Pseudanterea Imperator. Like I said, this is one of the first time that we ever see the caterpillars. There's no other pictures of them. No other videos, nothing. I'm the first person in the world who has this caterpillar. So, but yeah, I really want them to make it to adult, but that will possibly still take a few months. So that's really the big downside here. Boom. 4 more boxes to go. Okay, we are almost finishing this video. And what is it that we have here? Oh, this is a nice one. This is the another Caligula species. Now, I believe it's the Caligula, what was it again? Japonica? I may even have forgot the name. So, sorry for the chaotic video. I'm getting a bit tired of filming so much in one day. Kind of feeling the stress. But let's try to steady that camera. Oh yes, look at this. Oh yes, that color. It's amazing. You just gotta love these Asian emperor moths, these Caligulas, and some of their caterpillars are even better than the moths in my opinion. Just look at this. It's a work of beauty, it's art. So, and then when they grow bigger, they will have even more awesome colors. They're also quite hairy, as you can see. This one's almost shedding its skin, can you see it? Now I think this is Caligula japonica, but I completely forgot. May surprise you, but some of the species that I'm breeding, I forget the names of them. Just simply because I have a lot of species, and I'm not so concerned with the species name until I've completely finished the life cycle. The rearing is straightforward, whether you know the name or not. Okay, next one. Okay, so let's see what the hell is in these boxes. Getting tired of filming now, but we carry on. And it's the second box of Citheronia Bella Vista. Really nice species to have in captivity. There you go. Most of them growing well right now on sweet gum. They're nice caterpillars, but I'm not sure what to say because I just already shown them to you before. So we can get into this, but it would just be a repetition of the same species. So I'm gonna put them away. 2 more boxes to go. And what we see here is a nice but common species that's found in Europe. One of our native emperor moths. I'm gonna give a bit of a shout out to Mr. Timothy, who sent me these eggs. They are of the Saturnia pavonia. Now it may surprise some of you that I'm breeding them on sweet gum. It's definitely not a conventional or normal food plant for this moth. But in fact I found that they do well on it. So yes, it's the Saturnia pavonia. The small emperor on sweet gum, liquid amber. So I've bred these guys a few times before, but I was still missing some good images of all their life stages. So I decided to breed it again, because I really want to make a nice care sheet of these on my website sometime. As you can see, there's many of them in here. So some of them still hatching from the eggs. So yeah, raising this beauty again. Saturnia pavonia. Ah, it's the last and final box, finally. And this is again a species you've already seen, it's the Kaio. So as I said, I don't put everything in one box. If there's many caterpillars, I like to distribute them evenly. And well, here you can see some more caterpillars of the Kaio. There you go. Pretty cool, huh? Looks like this one's had some trouble shedding its skin or something. The horns are not how they should be, but that's alright. So some of you may think, wow Bart, was this finally everything? Nope, that's not true, because some species don't really like being raised indoors. You see, our house is a dry and warm environment, and while some species enjoy this, others will die. So I found that some species do better outdoors, and that's exactly what I do. See, here in this tree you'll see some plastic bags here up in this big birch tree, and I've done this on purpose because these things contain hundreds of caterpillars. Now it's hard to film this because A, most of the caterpillars are too small to film, but and B, these bags are so high in the trees that I'm gonna need a ladder to access some of them. But that's alright. Actually, in fact, I do use a ladder to hang them up in the tree. It's a very convenient rearing method. Because you just leave them in here outdoors and you can forget about them for weeks and only come back to replace the sleeve once they have run out of food and place it over a new branch. Now if you're wondering what's in here we have the polyphemus moth, the Anterea polyphemus. In here we have Hyalophora columbia, the Columbia silk moth. I don't know exactly what the common name is, I'm just calling it the Columbia silk moth. And here we have a small bag with some robin moths, Hyalophora cagropia. So, but I'm really unable to climb in there for this video and check them out. So you'll just have to take my word for it that they're in here and growing. Maybe I can show these Hyalophora columbia a little, I don't know. I see some caterpillars, but you probably can't because it's too far away for you to see on camera. So in my garden there are several bags of this. Here's one I have to replace actually, because these guys have run out of food. These are on hawthorn. And this is called a brown-tailed moth, the Eproctis chrysorea. Here you see a nest of caterpillars on top. They're these orange bright caterpillars. I've prolonged replacing their food a little because I'm a bit scared of them. They're really urticating and irritating species, so they have burning hairs, so that's not going to be a nice job to do, but it is part after all of the job, so whether I like it or not I will have to feed them at some point. That's the brown-tailed moth, the Eproctis. Last but not least, here in the back of my garden I have some more sleeves. Might show you that stuff anyways, since we're basically showing you everything already. Let's go. So here's my garden, some food plants, etc. And well, what I had in here was a really common type of moth. It's the Aranis defoliaria. It's called like the I think, well, in Dutch we call it the winter moth. I keep forgetting the scientific name for some reason. And here you see actually some caterpillars that I think are pupating. So it's a geometrid moth, Geometridae. And they seem to be doing okay on apple. In fact, here you can see one caterpillar. Can you see him? If you want to see some close-ups, I'll show you a clip right now. Yep, those are the Aranis defoliaria. Collected them in the wild when I went to a forest in the Netherlands, and I was like, wow, these guys are so common, why not breed them, you know? When life gives you lemons, breed moths. And in here we have the Vaporer moth. I don't know if you can see them. They're pretty crazy looking caterpillars, see? So if you want a close-up of that one, I can also give you one. Let's show you 3, 2, 1. Exactly, it's that species. It's a quite interesting species because the females are basically wingless and flightless. Huh. So it could make for an interesting rearing. And I'm not sure when these will be fully grown. I think some of them still have a long way to go. Also not sure how many of them are in here. I should monitor them sometime. So why I'm shaking this, because these caterpillars, they drop to the ground if they're scared, so this way I'm able to check how well they are doing. It's no harm to them. So last but not least, here's another sleeve. And in here there should be some Rothschildia lebeau. It's like the Rothschildia's Atlas moth, but I haven't seen signs of life in a while. So I suspect that they may have died. But I'm just gonna leave it here and check back in like 3 or 4 weeks, because if anything is alive, and I will notice, because the caterpillars grow quite big. And that's everything I have alive right now, as caterpillars, that is. So yeah, that's all the stuff I was raising at the moment. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Okay. Hey everyone, and thanks for watching my caterpillar vlog. Hope to see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and consider joining my crowdfunding platform Patreon, which helps me run my channel, because you see, for some reason my entire channel is demonetized because YouTube thinks it is not suitable for monetization. So I am dependent on crowdfunding for 100% to run this channel. Also, people who donate on Patreon can vote on what's my next video going to be about. And they are eligible to receive eggs or livestock if they live in a place where this is legal to send to. So if you're looking for any species or whatever, think about it. Last but not least, some of you may wonder, I've just shown you all the species, but where do I keep them? Well, the thing is, I keep all these caterpillars in my bedroom. It's true. I keep them literally in my bedroom. This is also where I keep my cocoons and my eggs, which I have not shown you in this video. This video is not even everything I have. I still have cocoons. I still have eggs. I have all these other life stages. This video just focused on only the caterpillars. So naturally you may be quite curious and think, hey Bart, why don't you show me your bedroom? The thing is, nah, not gonna. I'm a little bit embarrassed about the way my bedroom looks like, because it's really dirty, it's really disgusting. If you think of this prototype crazy animal hoarder, that's basically who I am. So I'm not a good role model. Kids, if you are watching this, please don't grow up like me. Don't think I am someone you want to grow up as or look up to. I take this hobby too seriously sometimes, and sometimes I even sacrifice my mental and physical health for it. And I'm sorry for that. But I'm pretty obsessed and pretty damn crazy. Anyway, I'm thinking about maybe doing a video where I show you my bedroom, where I keep all the cages with the caterpillars and the moths, etc. But I'm not feeling it today because it's really dirty, it's really trash and horrible. So whenever I'm going to make that video, obviously I want to clean it up. I'm not the kind of YouTuber who wants to throw makeup on his face and only show you the perfect sides of his life. Of course, I have flaws, and I'm also going to show my, the raw, unfiltered side of me on YouTube, including my flaws. But on the other hand, I didn't want to turn myself into a freak show and show my room in its current state. Anyways, thank you for watching. As you can see, these rearing projects are going really well. Some of them may not survive, some of them may. And the ones that turn into moths, obviously you're going to see them on my YouTube channel this very year. And the other species, well, it's basically just a gamble, a waiting game. Not 100% of my rearings succeed. Failure is normal in this hobby, so it's something I have to deal with as well. I'm not some kind of moth god that can rear everything. There's a species that I struggle with to breed. For example, recently my Caligula tibeta caterpillars died. It's a really difficult species to me. Guess that's what I want to say. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, consider donating. See you next time. Bye bye!